Good morning, Steve here. You're watching Nomadic Woodsman. I am going out today, beautiful day in May. I'm going out to gather some winter bark. It is May 8th and should be theoretically prime time for harvesting winter bark out of the white birch. The leaves, the buds are just starting to come out on the white birch, and the aspen trees, the poplar trees, the Populus tremuloides, so the aspen has leaves out a little bit more. I'll find a good spot here to show you the difference. Yeah, so those are right there, the buds of the white birch. That tree right there, white birch. And then if you look higher, see here, if you look a little bit higher, that one's an aspen. And its leaves are out a lot more. But yeah, it's a good time to go out. So my plan is to walk a little bit further. Should have some nice trees for bark about 1 kilometer from here. So I gotta walk with my saw. We'll cut it down, harvest the bark. Another thing that I didn't mention yet is that for temperature wise, it's very important to have a warm day. My friend Francois, who showed me how to make birch bark canoes, he told me in May you gotta wait for the leaves to be almost out, and then a nice day where the temperature is above 20 degrees Celsius. So I don't think it'll come up that high today. Might go up to 15, 16, 17 degrees Celsius, but since the buds are out and it's still a nice day, close to 20, I'm gonna give it a shot. So the reason why you want some heat is when you harvest your bark, well, sap's starting to flow between the wood and the bark, so you'll have a little bit of sap, and if it's too cold, your bark will be there's more chances that your bark will crack when you start to roll it. I've tried it before where it was like just above 0, and like the bark will crack. There's not enough moisture quite in the bark yet. Keep walking. Old birch with some mushrooms. Not this one, but that one has chaga. So when I'm out, it's not uncommon that I'll see chaga on the trees. This one, it's not a really nice chaga. It might have been harvested already. There's another one on that side there. Another one right there. Go a bit closer. There it is. A small chaga. I'll see if I can see some bigger ones. Might have some nicer ones elsewhere. But yeah. A lot of people ask winter bark, what's the difference, summer bark and winter bark? So yeah, this is what I'm harvesting today. This is going to be the winter bark, and that one on the inside bark there, you can scratch designs. So if you're making baskets or pots or moose calls or canoes, you can actually scratch off a thin layer and you have that two-tone effect. You can't do that with the summer bark because it's just normal yellow bark color, and there's not that layer on there, so you can't do the double tone designs. So typically you would make your main haul with summer bark. Summer bark's easier to harvest. It just gets off the tree a lot easier. And then you would use winter bark on your side panels for your canoes, and you can do designs on it. That's what historically people would do. Sometimes people have done full canoes all winter bark. but that's more rare and it's more work too. Another chaga here. The scientific name for chaga is Inonotus obliquus. Inonotus obliquus. Yeah, my video is not really about chaga, so I won't go too in depth, but it is medicinal. And yeah, this is what it looks like. It's got like that. Just looks like, basically, I find it looks like coal or ash. It's just really black, and then it sticks on the tree really well. And the ones I found were mostly back in the east in Quebec on yellow birch, and out here in Alberta, Canada, just basically on white birch because we don't have yellow birch here. But people debate on how to collect it and let it regrow and stuff. But see, I won't collect this side off. Just wanted to show you guys. Some people will chop it, cut it off, and leave most of it. They'll regrow. I'm not sure what it'll change, if it'll stop it from growing or not. But anyways, so the inside is very corky, different kind of color. And yeah, it's medicinal. I like to just put a chunk in it and let it boil, make tea out of it, and you can mix it with Labrador tea or whatnot. Not a huge taste. Kind of, your water will get kind of brown a bit. It's little light kind of tea-ish taste. Not sure how to describe the taste, but yeah, that's chaga. Also, I like to use it for tinders. It's also called true tinder fungus. So once it's dry, if you strike a spark in there, it could be like a tiny spark from a flint and steel or a ferro rod. Yeah, ferro rod will ignite it for sure, but it'll keep a coal for a long period of time. So one about this size, probably a small coal, probably just smolder like incense, smoke, for about 2 to 3 hours. You can do that. The false tinder fungus, the Fomes fomentarius, which looks like it's gray, it's more common. I could show you that one too, but it you can do that, like carry a coal with the other one as well. But this one, it'll ignite on like the lightest of little sparks. So this one's superior for catching a spark, in my opinion. So yeah, throw this in my backpack, leave this other one so it'll keep growing, and yeah, go gather some winter bark. By the way, leave me a like if you like the video. Appreciate the support. Kind of haven't done a video in a while. It's just been busy with family and other stuff, but still around. So leave me a like. Thanks, guys. There's kind of a different angle so you can have a good look at it. Chaga, Inonotus obliquus. Yeah, so what you see in the tree is really the black part. Just looks like a burnt piece of wood. Oh, by the way, Alberta right now is on a fire ban, so I'm not going to demo anything related with fire. But yeah, it does catch a spark quite well. I think I even did a video back in the day when I started my channel doing bow drill straight in the chaga. It's got to be dried, but just the friction from the spindle, it'll actually ignite your chaga. And I did it too with the amadou, the Fomes fomentarius, the other type of mushroom as well. You need high speed and a lot of heat, but it'll catch the spark. Don't know why the squirrels are going nuts. They don't see people here very often. Okay, let's go cut a tree. Alright, there's my tree. Harvest lots of winter bark off of there. I dropped a few branches here. Hopefully the trunk kind of lands on here. And it stays a little bit above the ground. And then I cut a little bit of a path there so I can take the bark off. Cut some of the hazelnuts a bit. Hopefully it falls in that direction. Hopefully it falls in the right direction. And yeah, things go well. Might throw a little bit more wood just to be safe. I'm gonna put a wedge in there and try to push it down with the wedge. Worked, but it might have not stayed hung up very high. Oh yeah, I should be okay. My tree's leaning on this log and it's still connected to my stump. That's why I dropped it slowly with the notch, with the wedge, so it wouldn't go crashing down with too much force. But there's a knot in the tree there, right there, kind of underneath. So the bark won't be good until there. So I'm going to start my notch up here and go all the way down and try to harvest this section as one sheet. We'll see how that goes. Now that I got a nice notch, did it with the chainsaw, a little bit quicker. It's a lot of work to harvest this winter bark, so I'm saving a bit of energy where I can. And I'm just solo, so yeah, this bark looks pretty nice. So now I just gotta slowly disconnect it with my knife, and that's the problem with the winter bark compared to summer bark. Once you notch it, the summer bark will just peel off on its own pretty much. You just gotta assist it a little bit, but it pretty much peels off on its own. But this winter bark, you gotta painstakingly get it unglued from the tree 1 inch at a time. And it's more prone to cracking too. So you gotta really be careful. So I'm just releasing it slowly with the knife. Go all the way to the end, come back, do the other side. Lots of moss on this tree. And my Atikamekw friend Joey, he told me for canoes and bark, thick bark, they're always looking. That's a key characteristic of thick and good bark, is that it has moss on it. Kind of cool to know. I guess it's just maybe just an old tree that it doesn't peel its bark off as much as some other paper birches. Like some paper birches just shed their bark constantly, so the moss probably doesn't have time to grow on it. While as if it's just a thick bark that doesn't shed as much, the moss probably has time to grow on it. And yeah, the canoes that I've built 4 so far, 3 out of birch bark and 1 spruce bark. And the birch bark ones, yeah, there was all moss on them. It's all good bark, but I mean, sometimes it's a lot of bark, that's a lot of moss, a lot of lichen, this old man's beard, Usnea stuff. Sometimes it's not that much, but it's kind of a cool traditional fact coming from an Atikamekw friend. Slowly but surely, we'll get there. Probably take me 2-3 hours. Okay, I'm getting there now. I got it unstuck on the edge. Now I'm ready to go along with my my white piece of plastic. It's much faster once you got it started. I'm really going to maximize this tree. I'm even going to gather little pieces up where there's branches. They're not going to be big enough pieces for canoes, but I can make moose skulls and baskets. So I'm going to harvest that too. All this moss. You can get handfuls of moss. The thing is, you can have moss, but you need the branches to be healthy. So you need the tree to be healthy. If the tree's full of mushrooms like chagas or things like that, your bark won't be any good. You could still make baskets and shelters and stuff like that, but it's not going to be like a premium quality bark. But this lichen, it seems to really live in symbiosis with the tree. So it just lives on the bark, but the tree's healthy. got it rolled. First roll done. Not sure how long it is. Went well, so I'm gonna harvest maximum of the tree. Keep going on this other part. I cut it in sections because this is like the first section is straight and then there's a curve in the tree. So usually when there's a curve it'll crack anyways or have a weak spot. So that'll just be, so I cut it anyways and then try to harvest the other straight piece after the curve. So yeah. Lots of work. If you're looking for a workout but don't want to pay for a gym membership, highly recommend you peel bark off trees and then also do some firewood. Woo. I'm tired. Oh. So I'm trying to push down on it so that both sides will open up. Just gotta try to lay it flat to roll it, and that's why it's super sketchy that I'll break. And then I got all these little branches I'm fighting against. There we go, almost got her. Inserted my smaller roll in the bigger roll so it'll help hold it. The more layers you have, I feel like the better the rolls hold, and also the tighter they're rolled. It's extremely hard to roll it tight because it wants to crack a bit, so you can't go too crazy tight, especially with this winter bark, because it's the winter bark, it's a little bit, it doesn't have as much water, as much moisture as the summer bark. Woo! That's a lot of winter bark though. And it's nice, it's good stuff, so I'm really happy with how today's going. Let's see what else I can gather. So I might have a little section here from these branches here. See, there was a branch there. So from these branches up to this big branch here, harvest another 3-4 feet of bark there, and then let's see here, might be able to harvest another 3-4 feet there. So that knot there. Maybe another 1 to 2 feet there, and that'll be about it, because after that it's all big branches. See, this is how big the buds were on this tree. So these weren't quite out. Hopefully that kind of focuses. And this is how much of the buds were on the actual tree I harvested. So some of them coming out a little bit more. But yeah, look at all this moss. It's pretty cool. This. Well guys, I think I answered most of the questions that I usually get on winter bark and on birch bark harvesting, the two different types of bark. But if you have any more questions, just leave them in the comments and I'll answer you. But yeah, for winter bark, you got to gather it in the spring and you got to have a little bit of heat. I've had last week, well, it's been pretty hot. That's why we've had a lot of fire bans. Well, we've just had a fire ban before we had a fire restriction. It was like 30 degrees there the one day, and then there was something like 40 new wildfires in the province, and it's been dry in Alberta here. So yeah guys, please respect the fire bans and use common sense. Don't throw your cigarette butts out the window if you smoke. And then with quads as well, I think now it's a full quad ban, so you can't even go out and go for a quad ride, because on the muffler and the spark arrestor, and sometimes on the wheels too, mostly the spark arrestor and the muffler, you get grass and it accumulates and it catches on fire of the quad exhaust. So quad ban. But yeah, please respect the fire bans. So yeah, it's been really hot. We've had 30 degrees, and then pretty much last week was like 21, 24. I just hadn't had a chance to get out. So that's why I really wanted to get out now. And yeah, it seems to be the right time, but there's not a big window of time where you can harvest it. It's probably depending on the weather, but sometimes like within 1 week or 2 weeks the leaves are all out, and then you kind of missed your opportunity, so you got to wait for the next year. I think it'd be possible to harvest it in the fall once the leaves fall, but then it's still kind of hot out. But the best time is really in the spring because the sap's starting to flow. So yeah, if you have any questions, just shoot me a comment and I'll answer. So what I need to do now is I just need to harvest these two little pieces, tie my roll, and then I'll bring it on my back and hike back to my vehicle. But yeah, thanks for watching guys. Please subscribe. I got not a crazy active channel, but I'm just getting started, so still getting some momentum. And the birch bark canoe I built last year, I'll be trying that out really soon. The ice just left the lakes now. That's another kind of good weather indicator. So we just lost all the ice now on our lakes. So I'll probably be trying it sometime this week, an evening, and I'll do a video. So that's coming up. Woo! So I got it lashed. I got this old military style harness. It's perfect for this. So I'm gonna do a first trip and then come back and do a second trip, grab my stuff. Don't know if I got enough gas left, but I'll try to take this off of the trail. The big balsam fir. think I might be out of gas. Enough gas. Close enough.